Hi guys, Tom here. Now I don't know about you, but one of my favourite films that's been released this year was Captain Marvel. And it got me thinking about all of the incredible female superheroes of the church, particularly those who appear in the Bible. Now normally when we think of amazing women from the Bible, we think about Mary and then we don't think about many others. But there are so many people in the Bible, so many incredible women who did incredible things and really can be classed as superheroes. So this is 5 super women from the Bible that you need to know about. Number 1 is Deborah. Now Deborah appears in the book of Judges and she is the only female judge mentioned in the whole of the Bible, which is an incredibly important title for the Jewish people. But not only was she a judge, she was also a military leader and a prophet and a songwriter. So she had so many gifts and talents, and she led her people for over 60 years through times of war and great prosperity. And she was always known for being incredibly compassionate and fair. So she's an incredible example and one that we really should celebrate. Number 2 is Esther. Now Esther was a queen. But more than a queen, she was someone who was incredibly important in the history of the Bible because she was incredibly brave. She heard about a plan to assassinate one of the Persian kings, and so she told him and she saved his life, which is an incredible story. But more than that, as a result of her actions, some people decided that they were going to kill all of the Jewish people living in Persia at the time, and she saved them all. Like, that's an actual superhero story. Like, you can imagine, like, Captain Marvel or Wonder Woman, like, living out that story. She saved so many people's lives. She's absolutely incredible. Number 3 is Sara. Now, Sara appears right towards the start of the Bible, and in the story of Sara and her husband Abraham, we hear about how they desperately wanted a child. But Sara was in her old age, and despite a life devoted to God, she'd never received a child. But God promised that she would one day bear a child into the world. And she kept her faith in God, even when it seemed like it was impossible or really difficult. And eventually she was rewarded with the birth of her son, Isaac. So she's an incredible example about how we should always keep our faith in God. Number 4 is Jehoshaphat. Now this one is a little bit complicated. It's kind of like a family story from EastEnders. So Jehoshaphat was the daughter of the king, but when the king died, his mother became the queen mother and she took power. Now she was really worried about other people taking the power from her, so she ordered the murder of all of the babies and all of the people who could take power from her. So effectively all of the other people who related to the king who died. Now Jehoshaphat, she saved her cousin and hid him in the temple for 6 years, and only Jehoshaphat, the baby, and the nurse who was looking after the baby knew that he was still alive. And eventually he rose to power. Now this is really important because he was from the line of David, and ultimately that line led us to Jesus. So Jehoshaphat saved the line of David. And if that line hadn't been preserved, who knows what the world would have looked like? Who knows whether Jesus would have even come into the world? She is an incredible woman. Number 5. Number 5 is Priscilla. Priscilla appears in the New Testament. She was a close follower of Paul, and she is known as Priscilla and her husband Aquila. Now that's unusual because normally it would be the man's name and the woman kind of forgotten about afterwards. But Priscilla was known for incredible ministry, incredible evangelization, and a real gift for going out and telling people about Jesus. She is considered the earliest example that we have of a female preacher. She's considered the first woman to go out and tell people about Jesus. And she is the only female preacher to be mentioned in the New Testament. So she's incredibly important to what we know about the church now and what the church looked like in its early days. That's all we've got time for today. There are so many other incredible women featured in the Bible. I'd really encourage you to have a look round, to have a read around, and to read some of the stories about the people we've spoken about today, because they are properly incredible, and I think they should all have films made about them. That's all we've got time for. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.